And I am pleased to welcome to the 2025 edition of Statehouse Conversations, Senator Fady Qaddoura of Indianapolis, a Democrat, one of 10 in the caucus, District 30, for those keeping score. Yep. Thank you for taking time.
It's my honor.
You know, you are in the eye of the storm, not only as a member of the General Assembly, but you happen to be front and center on the budget discussions. This is a biennial budget year. Anybody who has been paying attention knows that that's job one, that's the job you have to do, you and your colleagues. And you are on one of very few people on the State Budget Committee listening to agencies put forth their budgets and holding them accountable. You're the ranking minority member on Senate Tax and Fiscal Policy. You're on Senate Appropriations. All right, go. I just gave you the big build-up. How's this going to turn out? I got 44 billion questions, but I'll let you drive.
Well, I appreciate you. I think this session is critically important to Hoosiers across the state. We are anticipated to pass a biennium budget that exceeds $40 billion. So to me, the question is not whether or not Indiana has fiscal resources to be responsive to the issues that we are confronted with across the state. Rather, the question is, what are these priorities? How can we be effective? And how can we leverage these resources in the most strategic way to lift up all Hoosiers, to unlock their potential? And that brings me to a few priorities that I think are the general themes of this upcoming fiscal session. The first one is funding for public education. To me, investing in the minds of young Hoosiers is the most strategic economic development tool that our state needs. We can spend hundreds of millions of dollars attracting new jobs, but what's the value of new jobs if we don't have the workforce to fill these jobs? So to me, strategically, investing upfront in the educational system, early childhood education, universal on my way to pre-K, fully funded public education K through 12, affordable 2-year colleges and 4-year universities and vocational training, I think that's the strategic investment. Second, healthcare. We do have a challenge with growing Medicaid expenditures as a state. So that should also bring, I keep using the word strategic, discussion about what leads or what causes or what correlates to an increased expenditure in the world of Medicaid. Are we a healthy state? Do we need to invest more on the prevention side? Do we need to invest in public health? And how we can invest in Hoosiers in a way to keep them healthy for their sake. Because if I use that deferred maintenance in the world of capital expenditures to apply it to healthcare, the more that we defer investing in the health, the mental health and the physical health of Hoosiers, the more it will cost the state at the back end by investing in Medicaid. And Hoosiers will end up going to the emergency rooms to get to see their physicians as if they were their primary physicians. So we really need to focus on healthcare. The third priority to me deals with the tax system. I believe that our tax system needs to be reformed in a fair way to address those who are either on limited income or low income or fixed income, senior citizens, and others who the system does not treat them, in my view, fairly. I describe our tax system as a regressive tax system that can be tweaked to make it more responsive to the income levels of Hoosiers across the board. The fourth priority is infrastructure. I represent Indianapolis. For decades, the city and the state have engaged in discussions about how do we fully fund transportation needs. This last summer, we had a summer study committee that focused on infrastructure, and we learned from LTAP at Purdue University that we need $2.4 billion over the next 10 years to bring poor infrastructure to good condition. So to summarize, we have an opportunity with a new administration that I look forward to working with in a bipartisan fashion. We have legislators who are ready and excited to get to work, and we have a set of challenges that I firmly believe can be addressed given the fiscal resources that we have.
You know, when that's a pretty ambitious agenda you've talked about. And do you find that in a climate now increasingly where people want instant results, you know, what can you show me at the end of the fiscal year? When you talk about investing in young people in pre-K and maybe universal kindergarten, et cetera, or you talk about making Hoosiers healthier through public health expenditures, and that's something you and your colleagues did last budget, was pump new monies into that area. But do you find it sometimes difficult that you don't get the immediate payoff? You're talking about investing in little kids or in making me and other Hoosiers healthier. How do you make that sell?
Excellent point. We need to start somewhere. I'll use one example. In one of the committees recently, we have learned that in 1960, our college going rate, meaning students who graduated from high school and enrolled in a university in Indiana, in 1960 was 39 on a national level, meaning Indiana ranked 39th in the nation in 1960 as far as the percentage of students graduated from high school going to universities. In 2024, more than 60 years later, we declined by 2 more spots to become 41st in the nation as far as the number or percentage of students going from high school enrolling in post-secondary education. So the question is, do we respond to the immediate urgent needs, or do we respond strategically to the long-term needs? And I argue that both are important, because today there are Hoosiers who struggle with healthcare. They can't wait 5, 10, 15 years from today to address their healthcare needs. There are Hoosiers who need affordable housing solutions. They can't wait for 5, 10, 15 years. However, other policy areas, including healthcare and education, which by nature cannot be changed overnight, we must invest in those policy areas as soon as possible, because we will see the return on investment, not just fiscally for the state, but the return on investment for these families to unlock their potential, to increase their earning income ability over the many next decades. So I think both are extremely important, both are needed. We need to start somewhere, and we have an unbelievable opportunity. We are not in a recession. We are not in a declining economy. We are in a stable position fiscally as a state. Matter of fact, we are projected to see a growth in our revenues over the biennium, the next 2 years, to the tune of 3.5% in the combined growth over the next couple of years. So I'm not even arguing about using the 3.5% of revenue growth to address our needs. I'm just looking at the priorities within the 40 or 44 plus billion dollar budget, how we can tweak it in a meaningful way, in a bipartisan way, to be the most effective and the most strategic.
I told you were a numbers guy. You probably wake up at 2 in the morning saying 3.5% over the biennium. Fady Qaddoura, Senator, Democrat from Indianapolis, District 30, I thank you for taking time to share your thoughts on this session, and thank you for your commitment to the state of Indiana and to public service.
I appreciate it.
Much appreciated.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Thank you.